Okay, so we finally got our bearings in. Got some new little bearings, and these are like POG brand or PGN. I'm sorry, uh, PGN brand. Little seal bearings that we have. Obviously, compared to the old ones, to where they're just a little bit damaged. I think that's the one that's seized up all the way. And obviously these move a whole lot freely. So that's what we want for sure. So we got inner and outer bearing, inner and outer seals. We got ourselves our little tacky grease. We've already gone ahead and it's kind of hard to see. Went ahead and clean out all the bores, inside and out, even the little center inside. Cleaned it up real well. Clean out the little spacers, little center pipe. Got it nice and clean, thankfully. And we got our castle nuts, spacers, dust cover, lug nuts, all the good stuff. So I went ahead and cleaned the spindle here, nice and clean all the way around. Went ahead and already got some couple of sockets for the bearings. For the for the inner one, using a 1 1/8 of an inch sockets, so it fits basically just right around the bearing there, so we can kind of tap that in. And for the outers, 1 1/16 socket. If you got a bearing driver, hey, go ahead and use that. I don't have that, so we're just gonna go ahead and get right in. So my main thing to do, we're gonna go ahead and start with the inner one. We'll basically go just right in here like this, just like that. So we'll go ahead and start with the inner bearing, just right in here. Now, I know these are seal bearings, and most people are just like, hey man, it's sealed, doesn't need any extra grease or anything, but I don't know. I'm kind of not a perfectionist, but more like preventative. So throw a little extra grease in there just to kind of help keep dirt and moisture out. So we'll go ahead and apply a little bit of grease in there. Get our bearing, so it looks like it's gonna fit just right. It's kind of hard to see, but it's just sitting on top of there for when we press it in. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply a little bit of grease, kind of help it slide in a little bit better. So we'll get that set up in there. Oh man, let's see. We'll get that kind of set up in there. Get our socket out, and that was kind of hard to see because it's a little bit of an angle. I'm just trying to get it to where the phone kind of sees it. I'm recording all this on the phone, so I'm trying to make the video not too long. But basically, just gonna go ahead and use the socket on top just to kind of drive that bearing in. We can install the seal and everything. So I'll show you in a second what that looks like. Let's see here. So get that on there. Alright. So we've got that inner bearing already in there. Obviously you want to use a socket that's just smaller than the bearing so you can drive it in all the way in. We got that pretty good in there. We'll clean out some of the grease out. Do want to apply a little bit on top, just in there, and go ahead and clean some of this excess off on the sides, because I actually want to Uh, I know this is stupid. Some people may like it, some may not. But wasn't able to get new seals because they're really hard to find, and they were going to be here in a couple of weeks. And I got to get this ATV running by next weekend, so I won't have time for all that. So it's going to use a little bit of a ultra gray little gasket maker, just kind of mask the outside of the seal here, mainly just so it doesn't move or anything. Whenever I took this side apart, it looked like it has shifted over a little bit. I don't know if it was just from previous installation. I had never taken this apart until now, so just kind of have a little bit of a extra sealing there, kind of keep some of the water and dirt out. So we got that out of there. Go ahead and set it in there. And last time, whenever I did the rear ones, these had just seemed to just kind of push in. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same with this side. Just to make sure that it does that. It stays in there just fine. Got the seal in there, so you can see. These seals are weird. You would think they'd be a little bit bigger, so it kind of goes all the way to the center of that bearing, but they do not, apparently. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a little bit extra grease, kind of put on there just to kind of help basically protect it. Alrighty, got the inner one all done, and they obviously go in a whole lot easier than the old ones come out. So now what I want to do here is kind of do the same thing, apply some grease inside the hub itself before we put our spacer in, just to kind of help it glide a little bit better, and same thing, keep some of the dirt and moisture and everything out. Go ahead and get a little big old gulp in there. So do that, and I fill it up a little bit. You know, never really have too much grease in there, I suppose. Kind of helps everything keep intact and everything. So gonna get that taken care of. That is awesome. Just a little bit of grease in there, just kind of help keep some of that dirt and everything away. So these are side specific, and basically this bore is a little bit larger than the other side. It actually has a little lip on the inside that'll catch against the hub here, so it doesn't go all the way to the back. So you obviously want to double check. I don't know if you can see that there's a little gap here on the outside. If you try to go this way, that lip stops it about halfway. So you want to go ahead and do that just to make sure that we get it on the right way. So this one goes in like that. Obviously the rotor goes towards the knuckle, so we know how to insert it. I also want to throw a little bit of grease in here inside, because this is actually where it's going to be spinning on the inside. So we want to make sure that we get that all nice and greased up. Inside there. That's just perfect. Alrighty, we get that. Throw a little bit on the outside as well, just for a little added protection. You know, mainly for dirt and stuff. This stuff was pretty much covered in a lot of dirt and everything. And I know reusing old seals, you know, I'm gonna risk a chance of getting some more dirt and water and everything, which is fine. I mean, ATV gets used for fun, not to sit inside the garage, so having to work on it, you know, that ain't no problem for me. So I'll go ahead and, I actually did order those seals just so I have them, and I'll have some spare ones as well. So basically, alright, so we got that taken care of. It's already all greased up inside and outside. We'll just go ahead and drop it right in there, and the bearing on the inner is actually going to go ahead and hold that pipe in place, so it doesn't just slide out from the other side, just while you have two different sets of lips on them. So one to reach the rear bearing, that way it pushes all the way down and you don't have the hub just basically moving around in there. So we got that in, all good. And now we're going to go ahead and take our outer bearing. Little sitting there, little guy, make sure it spins. We'll do the same thing, just apply a little bit of grease on the outside. Now once I'm done, I'll go ahead and lubricate the inside as well, quite a bit, just to make sure that we don't have an issue. I've already got some grease in here on the bore for the bearing. Let's go ahead and sit it down right there. Get that taken care of. Go ahead and grab our other socket. Make sure that it fits basically just on that outer ring. We'll go ahead and tap it in. Couple little smacks just so it stays centered. Clean some of that off. Go ahead and clean some of that outside layer off. Same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and apply a little bit of a little sealant on the outside of the seal, just so I know that it's seating properly. It'll kind of hold. I'm just doing this completely off screen. Sorry, I'm doing this on my phone. I don't really have an editing software, so I'm trying to do this as quickly as possible. Alrighty, we got our seal. Just make sure that obviously it goes in the proper way. And we'll go ahead, this one's a little bit stiffer, so that's good. Alrighty, we got that pushed in all the way. Go ahead and mask off everything else. Make sure we're not drying off any sealants or anything. Alright, so we got our bearing in, we got our seal in. Go ahead and throw a little extra grease in there to kind of cover the little gaps in between the seal and the bearing. And do that. Obviously, you want to make sure that your little pipe is all good. We'll go ahead and move that over a little bit. There we go. There we go. Nice and centered. Got our spacer in. Alright, so right now you should be able to basically see completely through it. That's what the little knuckle shaft is going to go into. I want to go ahead and lubricate this shaft a little bit. I know innuendos, it's all good. We're all adults here. So make sure to get that nice and greased. I'm just trying to, you know, make it last a little bit longer. So I've owned this ATV for almost a year now, and I've ridden it maybe 10 times. So 10 rides, you know, it's not bad. And I'm talking about abuse, you know, hills, rivers, mud like crazy. So I've definitely gone through quite a bit with this ATV, and it's not the most powerful ATV out there, you know, a little Chinese brand. In terms of specs and everything, it's not as fast as, you know, as a Raptor or anything like that. So, but, you know, I can always follow people with it. Can go basically anywhere they go, and most times I'm usually about the one that can make it through different situations. So, alright, so we got both our inner bearing, seal, outer bearing, seal, spacer in between. Obviously, you want to make sure that you get everything all cleaned up. I basically went through and cleaned up the rotor before. Just got a little dirty just now, but alright, and we're ready for installation. It should just basically just slide right in for the most part. So we'll go ahead and get that installed in there, hopefully. And we're having a little bit of an issue. Let's see here. Oh, it's the little inner shaft. It's all shifted a little bit, so let's see here. Get that bad boy out there. Come on. There we go. Let me snap this in a little bit. How to get over that little lip there. Alright, that's good. There's no play in it, so that's good. Let's go ahead and double check the back side. Back side's looking good. So we're basically flushed. Oh my god, look at that difference. I mean, just from previous when it wasn't even, you know, I was having to really put some grip in it and try to turn it, but that's how it should be, you know, all day, every day. So got everything in there. We're gonna go ahead and put a little outer spacer on there, a little bit of lube in there, kind of help it out. You know, just remember, never have too much lubrication. So it definitely helps. So go ahead and slide that on there, and that basically just about covers everything. So we are just about ready to reinstall everything. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and get a little spacer, our lock ring, and our castle. Get that in, get that little bad boy in there. Alrighty, so, and with that on there, make sure you don't have any slack on there. We do have a cotter pin, so we don't necessarily have to go, you know, crazy with it whenever we're installing this. So give it a little bit of tap, just so I can get the castle nut aligned with the holes, so we can install our cotter pin in. So I do have some new cotter pins around, but it's okay. This one works just fine. It's not a car, you know. Get that in there. Tap it out a little bit. Get those little pointers out. Alrighty, and that's basically our install right now. I'm not getting any slack, you know, like we were before. It turns easily. So basically now all we got to do is just reinstall our caliper. Once we get the caliper installed, we just install our wheel, and we should be just about good to go. So that's kind of what it looks like up in the front. Castle nut, everything in there. Got a little bit of the back side. Got some of the goo kind of coming out back there, which is not bad, you know. It's not a bad deal, but we're sitting nice and flushed, and get some good spin on it, which is what we want. Alright guys, basically I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side, and test ride it maybe after it stops raining, and we'll just go from there. Deal. Thank you for watching.